7.4 from Councillor Pascaliaris. Thank you. Memorial presentation, we move to item 5. This past period has seen meetings of advocacy with Member of Parliament Dan Tehan, between myself, the CEO, Peter Schneider, and Dan Tehan, and various items of advocacy were discussed, and items concerning the Warrnambool area were thoroughly put in. We also had a good discussion, advocacy of items with Joe Pulford, Member of Legislative Council, and we actually tried to do that on Friday. Technical issues prevented us from doing completely, so we carried on that conversation this morning. It was very receptive to all the items on our advocacy presentation, and we look forward to her assistance in the future. I attended a very heartening fundraiser very early in the morning last week, Big Life bicycle ride, and through the efforts of the bicycle riders, over $114,000 was raised by those riders. Each rider had to raise $500 or more in order to participate. So you can imagine 90 riders to actually raise over $140,000 was a magnificent effort. As soon as the last bunch moved off at 5:30, drizzle started. We all had visions of them, some of them getting hypothermia or timber like they did last year. They tell me that the ride was a great success. They all arrived roughly at the same time, around 3 o'clock in Melbourne, and were welcomed by Councillor Melbourne City Council. So it was a great success. It was terrific. I attended the launch of the University of the Third Age. They were heartened by an increased attendance for the launch. Looks like they're going to have a lot of people join up to the University of the Third Age. And again, that's a wonderful community asset that we have in that particular group. The CEO and myself attended the former mayor's funeral this past week. Councillor Bob Barham was acknowledged during the celebration of his life to be a larger-than-life figure. And he certainly played a huge part in the recent history of Warrnambool, particularly with his contributions to the Lake Patogue development and his enthusiasm for all things progress and development for Warrnambool. So that was a privilege to attend that celebration of his life. Certainly a man worth acknowledging. Now is time for the public question time. We move on to item 6. All questions must be received no later than 2 hours before the commencement of the council meeting on the day of the meeting. Do we have any?
Yes, Mayor, we have a question from Mr. Brian Kelson. And his question is, I received a number of complaints from our residents regarding 2 items, in particular Norfolk Pines and a laneway that runs parallel to Ferry Street between Ellerslie Grove and Tynemore Street, Warrnambool. 1, I understand the condition of this laneway has been brought to the attention of council and still has not had satisfactory repair, but only just a band aid.
So just a point of order. Isn't it in the government's rules that the questioner can read out their question? I believe that's in there. And I think the questioner is in the audience tonight, and we didn't give him the option. That was all.
Mr. Mayor, yes, Mr. Kelson can read
Kelson.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that good? Thank you. Yes, I've had received a number of complaints from our residents regarding two items in particular. Norfolk Pines and the laneway that runs parallel between Ferry Street and Ellerslie Road and Tolman Street, Warrnambool. First, I understand that the condition of the laneway has been brought to the attention of the council. It has not been satisfactorily repaired. We've had a band-aid solution, which serves no purpose basically to anybody. The walkway or the venue that you use between the two streets, Ellerslie Road and Tolman Street, it's a very, very awkward situation for anybody elderly and not so elderly. It's terrible to walk on. Now, I understand that we've had elderly people fall, yet this is fallen on deaf ears. Now, my question is, when will the laneway be fixed permanently?
Mayor, the response to that question is the laneway is one of a number of unsealed roads and laneways in the municipality that will be subject to an upgrade in the coming financial year. Designs have been completed to rectify the situation. Works will be programmed when the budget funds are available. The designs include drainage, sealing and speed humps to reduce the water flow and any material washing down the laneway during rain events. In the meantime, council staff will continue to clear the material from the footpath to maintain pedestrian safety.
That's quite good, and I'm glad that it's on the horizon. I just question the work that has to be done by our fantastic workers from the Warrnambool City Council. They go and they try to repair something, and they're back next week. Well, they're not back next week until something falls over, and then we have to have a look at it again. This question, or these questions, have been brought up to the Warrnambool City Council, and a meeting of the CEO and the Mayor were there at the time. Now, has anybody from the council or the councillors, have they been told about these meetings? A show of hands if you're all right. Yes, you've been told?
I've been told, yes, by the Mayor that they met, the CEO, not what the outcome was, but I was told by the Mayor that they met, but not what was in the meeting.
Anybody else? So we could say that 6 out of the 7 councillors don't know what's actually happening after a meeting has taken place with concerns from our ratepayers. I don't think that's good enough. I think you guys should know exactly what's going on. And if the Mayor and the CEO doesn't pass this on to you guys, to the councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I think that they're in the duties. The second part is I've witnessed the Norfolk Pines being trimmed, if you like, that really serves no purpose whatsoever. The only purpose it's serving is that we have somebody that's coming along every now and then to trim the needles and so forth. We've got the root system of these trees actually penetrating into the ratepayers' houses, into their properties. We have branches overhanging the garages and so forth of their properties. We have the pines filling up the guttering and causing damage through flooding.
Do you have a question?
The question is, what's going to be done with the trimming of the trees, and should the trimming of the trees be of such that it actually stops any problem with any rubbish or anything of the trees falling into the ratepayers' properties. And heaven forbid, if one of those limbs come down and hurt somebody or worse. So my thing is, are we going to get proper trimming of these trees so that these people can live in a harmonious relationship with the council?
Mayor, council staff continue to monitor the trees and the encroachment onto properties, and will continue to take action where possible. And staff take actions on customer requests to undertake minor pruning of the trees to reduce the impact on properties.
What about the ones that actually, the trees who actually have limbs that are 15, 20 foot into their properties? We have a problem whereas the roots are penetrating into the properties. Now, we had the same thing down here at the corner of Timor Street, Timor and Ferry Street, where they had to fit roof guards into and around the trees to stop the foundations from crumbling. What are we going to do for these people so that their properties are not damaged and there's not a fee towards these people?
Yeah, they weren't in with the subject questions, but all customer requests will be looked at, and council will go down and inspect those and deal with them appropriately.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. I appreciate your answer. So, why haven't the councillors been informed with these problems so that they can make an informed decision on what should take place? Why is that?
Yeah, I think Mr. Kelson has exceeded the questions per our governance rules at the moment. But all requests from ratepayers do not necessarily go through the council. They are handled administratively, and the councils will get involved from time to time, but not over every request that comes through.
These are normally dealt with, as you well know, Mr. Kelson, by the customer request system, and where those issues come up, that's the way an individual councillor is expected to deal with it. That's the governance rule.
No one would expect that the councillors be informed, not just be informed when you guys think it's appropriate. Thank you for your time.
Any further questions from the public? We're now moving to the officers' reports section of the agenda. I'd like to remind you of the speaking times allocated for each item during the meeting, as outlined in our governance rules. The mover of a motion may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes to open the debate, and then a further 2 minutes later on to exercise their right of reply and to close the debate. Any other councillor, including the seconder, may speak for or against the motion for no more than 3 minutes. To assist councillors with time limits, you will hear a signal when you have reached the maximum time allowed. I would ask you to respect the time limits, please. The reports, item 7.1, December 2021 Finance Report, agenda page 5. The purpose of this report is to update Council on the financial performance for the 6 months ended 31st of December 2021. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, Do I have a motion? Councillor Arnold.
My motion is that the December 2021 finance report be received.
Is there a second of this motion? Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Lane, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mayor. The finance report covers the period ending 31st of December, and our actual results indicate a favourable position of 565,000 to forecast. There is no doubt that COVID-19 has still had an effect on our tourism industry. We were hoping for a really good year, but Omicron actually landing in the city has affected that. So we do have some unfavourable variances in income, and that's the areas that mainly up there were unfavourable: Flagstaff Hill, the Lighthouse Theatre, and the holiday parks. With that, those unfavourable variances were, however, there was some savings due to some employment benefits continuing to be lower than expected, and the use of casual staff due to COVID restrictions. And we'll make notes, there's been no major variances again around our projects carried forward that are to be completed in 21-22. Thank you.
Councillor Councillor Lane, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, Mr. Ziegler. Yes, as Councillor Arnott stated, we are tracking a little bit over 500,000 better than forecast, mainly due to offsets through labour savings, and these are services that have restrictions on their operations due to COVID. We're opening up, which will mean that these services should be opening closer and closer to full capacity with every step, or at least be back to pretty well normal operation. I think it's important, especially with this report for council, not to be relying on the lower staffing costs, but to be fully resourcing these services as we move out of restrictions. So service levels that aren't affected, and these services can actually continue to grow in order to support not only their operations but the wider community. The Lighthouse Theatre is a really good example this month, with savings of staff due to reduced commercial hire, but as shows the use of the ship theatre continue to grow over the coming months, it's going to be important to make sure the facility is fully staffed and running at maximum capacity in order to fill the needs within our community, but also to support and grow the business, which will result in more diverse shows, acts, and a better service for the Warrnambool community. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Thank you, Councillor Pastorianos.
I just would like to add that on, I think it was page 11 of the report, it's worth noting that Council has reduced costs paid to Australia Post when rates being paid by customers, and that equates to saving $27,000 per year. It's through a collaborative contract with the MAP, and there's also proposed banking change for the Council with estimated savings of $31,000 per year. And whilst it's not groundbreaking, I do think that everybody helps. So I do appreciate officers and staff trying to find some savings where they can in terms of operations. It seems like they're taking initiative with that, which is good.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? There being no further speakers, Councillor Arnott, do you wish to speak before closing the debate?
Look, I fully endorse what Councillor Lane and Councillor Pastorianos have endorsed. One thing to note about our workforce, yes, we really would like all our tourism, and especially as Blaine said, the Lighthouse Theatre, it could be challenging to find the staff to man those facilities, so we will keep the fingers crossed that we can move ahead, and hopefully the negative impact of the COVID-19 on those businesses can actually get going and move forward. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 7.2, the South West Victorian Livestock Exchange Advisory Committee terms of reference. Agenda page 6. The purpose of this report is to amend the terms of reference for the South West Victorian Livestock Exchange Advisory Committee in regard to the appointment of Chair of the Advisory Committee. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
I'd like to move that the motion is as per Council Officer's recommendation that Councillor Ben Blaine be appointed as Chair of the South West Victorian Livestock Exchange Advisory Board Committee from the 7th of February till December 22 be accepted.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Gilling. Thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Ziegler. This move to appoint the chairman of the advisory committee to a councillor allows for good governance of the committee that necessarily is made of members that have a vested interest, and this move brings it into alignment with the majority of other council advisory committees and reference groups, which will have a councillor at the chair of the committee. Thank you, Mayor Ziegler.
Thank you. Councillor Gilling, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you. Really along the same lines as Councillor Taylor. I think it's important that this has happened. I congratulate Councillor Blaine on being appointed as the chair. It is important to show transparency to everyone, and so there's no vested interest in there. So I think it's a good outcome and aligns us with other groups, advisory groups that we have. Thank you.
Councillor Gilling, are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? I would just like to I'll add my bit here. I think that the advisory committees in general are something very desirable in order that the council is given the benefit of the expertise of the people on those committees, and I'm very pleased to have Councillor Blaine involved as the chairman of the Livestock Exchange Advisory Committee because of his skills in that particular area and his background. I think that's a particularly good choice in that respect. So there being no further councillors who wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Taylor, do you wish to close the debate?
No, thank you, Mayor.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 7.3, Draft Waste Management AMP, the Asset Management Plan. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Blaine. What is your motion?
I'd like to move that the draft waste asset management plan goes out of public consultation for a period of no less than 28 days.
Is there a seconder for this motion? Councillor Gilling. Thank you. Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, please, Mayor Ziegler. Waste management and our assets are incredibly important to our city. It's one of the services that every single household in our city actually receives is waste management. And I think as part of an open and transparent council, even though we don't have to put these out to put this asset management plan out to consultation. I think it's important that everyone at least has the opportunity to have their say on infrastructure and assets that control and we use their waste. Not a lot of change can be done straight away because of contract obligations as they sit currently, but as we move into a new contract negotiation stage, any feedback I feel could be very valuable in shaping future contract negotiations. So I'm happy to put this out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Councillor Julie, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you. This is we don't currently have a waste management asset plan, which is great that we're doing this now. So I think initially, especially, that it's great it goes out to community consultation for feedback from the community and go from there. So I think
Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? There being no further speakers, Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak before closing the vote?
No, thank you.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried unanimously. Item 7.4, tender award 2021051. Yes, thank you. The supply and installation of solar panels, correction to resolution value. The purpose of this report is to make an amendment to the resolution on the 6th of December 2021 Council meeting regarding the award of contract 2021051, supply and installation of solar panels. At the Council meeting on the 6th of December 2021, Council resolved to award the contract supply and installation of solar panels for a total amount of $378,235.10 exclusive GST. Subsequently been identified that an error occurred in the calculation of the GST component of the contract total value. The amount resolved by Council was understated by $3,820.55. The correct amount should have been $382,055.65 exclusive GST. It's important to note that the evaluation of the tender was completed using the correct figures, and all other figures provided in previous reports and tender evaluation documents are correct. This amendment to the Council resolution does not impact the outcome of the tender evaluation process. Good governance and transparency, and for the CEO to be authorised to enter into the contract for the full amount, an amendment on the Council resolution will be required. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I see the motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
Thank you, Mayor Ziegler. I'd like to move that the motion is as per Council Officer's recommendation that the supply and installation of solar panels to Gippsland Solar be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Arnott. Thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Ziegler. Yes, the Council has committed to be a zero net carbon organisation by 2026. Solar panels for 4 major council buildings in Aquazone, Archie Graham, the Civic Centre and the Woonawalla Art Gallery will be essential to achieve the council targets. Thank you, Mayor Ziegler.
Councillor Arnott, do you wish to speak to the motion? Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Jelly.
thank you, Mayor Ziegler. disappointing that there was an error, but very pleased that it's now come out and publicly verifying the discrepancy and going from there. So.
Thank you. Councillor Blown.
Yeah, just quickly, yeah, as Councillor Jelly said, it is disappointing there was an error, and I just hope that in the future that we won't be doing any more of these. So I think it's a great outcome for the city, the solar panels, but you know, we make sure we have the numbers right. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Blown.
Mr. Mayor, just before we put the motion, could I just clarify for the sake of the members of the public and anyone viewing that there are three parts to this recommendation, and Councillor Taylor just read out recommendation 1, but I just wanted to clarify that he's intending to move 2 and 3 as well.
Would you care to read those?
Yes,
items, please?
Okay. So item 1 was amend the council resolution, the 6th of December 2021 council meeting and award contract 202-1051, supply and installation of solar panels, Gippsland Solar Proprietary Limited, RACV Solar, for the tendered lump sum amount of $382,055.65 ex-GST. 2, that the schedule of rates offered is accepted for the life of the contract. And 3, authorise the CEO to sign, seal and vary the contract as required.
Thank you, Mr. Shimon. Are there any other speakers? There being no further speakers, Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak before closing the debate?
Thank you, Mayor Siegel. I'd like to endorse the second and third points to be included in the motion. So,
Thank you. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.5 on the agenda. Sorry, Councillor Jones.
Yeah, I've got a conflict, so I'll let you
Yes,
do.
thank you. Item 7.5 is the Rural Planning Scheme Amendment C205 WARR consideration of submissions. Agenda page 13. The purpose of this report is to consider submissions to Planning Scheme Amendment C205 WARR and recommends that Council resolves to refer the submissions to an independent planning panel appointed by the Minister for Planning. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bloom. What is your motion?
I move the council receives and considers all submissions made to the amendment C205 WARR to the Rural Planning Scheme, including the 2 late submissions. And point 2, requests that the Minister for Planning appoint an independent planning panel to review the submissions received to amendments C205 of the law in accordance with Part 8 of the Planning Environment Act 1987. Refer all submissions to the independent planning panel to be appointed by the Minister for Planning, and endorse the opposite response to issues raised by submissions outlined in attachments 3, 4, 5 and 6 on the basis for cancel submissions to the independent planning panel. Point 5, note no other actions outside the amendment can relate to possible mitigation improvement outlined in attachment 4. Point 6, rights to all submitters, informing them of council's decision.
Thank you, Councillor Mike. Is there a second of the motion? Councillor Paspalios. Thank you. Councillor Blown, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I just think it's important that council has heard the the submissions from everyone on this, because this is a big change for planning for the flooding scheme throughout Warrnambool. And I do think, personally, I think it's important that this amendment does go to an independent planning panel so that there is an bias from council to be an independent group of individuals from the Minister for Planning who will actually come back to a recommendation for council. So there's no decision, it's another set of eyes looking over the issues that have been raised. There are a range of very well written submissions here and concerns from residents on this floodplain amendment. And I think it's important they have their voices heard. This is an old overlay and a lot has changed in our city, especially when it comes to infrastructure and mitigation measures that have been introduced. And I think it's important to get this right now because it will have impacts on so many residences over residents around Warrnambool. So I'm really happy to support the decision for it to go to an independent planning panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blake. Councillor Pasquale, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Along the same lines, Councillor Blake, I guess with this type of proposed amendment, there are some areas that have flood controls that will have removed through the amendment, and some that we don't and will have some added. And some of the controls date back to 1997, so I think that obviously there's an attempt here to be more up to date with this amendment being introduced. I think that referring to an independent review panel is the right way to go to hopefully ensure a fair and hopefully equitable outcome. And I think that the 7 common issues that have been identified in relation to the submissions received obviously is a really good sort of variety of main issues that have been grouped. So I think that all really makes sense as far as a good summary of the concerns that the residents have. So I think the independent panel is the way to go here.
Thank you, Councillor Pasquale. Any other councillors who wish to make comment? Councillor Allen?
Yes, this is a very important piece of work, and there's obviously been a lot of work already gone into it. Important planning piece. You know, there were a total of 21 submissions, and very well written submissions across a variety of concerns. I think it is important that we do get an independent planning person board to look at this issue, because it will have far-reaching effects on a lot of residents. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors wishing to make a comment on this issue? I'd like to make a comment that I was impressed with some points made in the executive summary here. Changes to the amendment as requested by submitters are not supported in relation to all the submissions. Therefore, council can either abandon the amendment or refer the submissions to an independent planning panel for review. The report recommends that council requests the Minister for Planning to appoint an independent planning panel, and I wholly endorse that particular move. I think that's particularly sensible move, and I was also pleased that 2 late submissions were accepted because, as all councillors have mentioned, in relation to this motion, it's a particularly important amendment, a particularly important piece of legislation for us because it affects so many people's homes, and we have to get it right. So, there being no further speakers, Councillor Blake, if you would to close the debate.
No, thank you.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried unanimously. 7.6 on the agenda, the contract award. 2021-049 Port of Warrnambool boat ramp construction. This report provides information on the award of contract 2021-049 Port of Warrnambool boat ramp construction. Councillor, is there any questions on this item before I see the motion? Councillor Blunt.
Yeah, just a quick question through you, Mayor. What's happening to the excess funds on this project?
Mr. Lee.
Through Mr. Mayor, we're continuing to discuss what the options might be with the boat Victoria, and we're looking at some designs for subsequent infrastructure to further improve the site.
Thank you. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Blaine, what is your motion?
I move that we accept the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Taylor. Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, this is a really exciting project and something that's been a long time coming down there. The new boat ramp for the Port of Warrnambool. It's exciting to see that we ended up through our advocacy efforts getting $3.5 million, and so far we're a bit over half of going to the initial works. And as Mr. Lee has said, I hope that I hope that through discussions with Better Boat Victoria, we will be able to add more infrastructure down there to the foreshore. It is a big thank you when it comes to the funding to the Victorian State Government, Better Boat Victoria, in particular Melissa Horn, the Minister for Ports and Harbours. And it's exciting to see that the tender will, this tender come in complete by the end of August. This will be the first stage in the safer boat launching of the safer boat launching facility in Warrnambool. The surge of the ramp is still something that will need to be addressed. But with every new project and every step we make, we're making this a safer and more practical boat ramp for the region. So it's really exciting to see that finally this contract's being awarded for all users of this facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Singer. Yes, we'd like to endorse Councillor Blaine's comments. The Warrnambool boat ramp is an important launching point in the southwest Victoria for locals and visitors who own trail boats and head offshore to fish, dive and enjoy time on our magnificent coastline and harbour. Thank you, Mayor Singer.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Pascalianos.
I guess initially I did have possibly some concerns about the fact that only one submission was received for this tender. And obviously the people who own this particular company are very well experienced, but the company itself is fairly new. So I have been reassured by council officers that these people are more than suitably qualified for this project, and I imagine that the tender assessment panel has done its job in its assessment for this tender. So whilst I have had my concerns, I will be happy to support this decision for the tender.
Thank you, Councillor Pascalianos. Any other councillors wish to make a comment on the motion? I will echo. Sorry, Councillor.
Sorry, that's right. I'd just like to say how exciting it is that moving this tonight, we've got someone to come in and start doing the job that we've been waiting for a long time. So I think it's really exciting to have this go forward tonight.
Yes, Councillor Joy, I would agree with that. I think that it's a very exciting project. I'm glad it's about to start. The tender's been awarded. It was an interesting exercise that we received requests for the tender documents, and only one responded. but I've been reassured as Councillor Castelliaris that the tenderers who've actually put in the submission are well qualified. So, Councillor Blunt, being no further speakers, would you like to speak before closing the debate?
No, thank you.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 7.7 on the agenda, development and implementation of Council's Reconciliation Action Plan. This report provides information on the process for development of the Reconciliation Action Plan and recommends endorsement of commencement of the plan. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? There being no questions, I'll ask, do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Jelly.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Ziegler. I would like to accept the recommendation that the Council endorse the commencement of the development of the Reconciliation Action Plan and explore funding opportunities to continue to develop and implement the RAP over its journey.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Is there a second of this motion, Councillor Hunt? Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I would like to, thanks. As all our other agenda items, they all are important, but this is this goes through tonight. It's a landmark day for Wonderful City Council because last year, when I was mayor last year on the 27th of May, I was privileged to ask to speak at a special Reconciliation Day event at Southwest TAFE. The theme for that Reconciliation Week was more than a word. Understanding that reconciliation takes action, genuine commitment by us all, and admitting that it was time to lead the change. We needed to move on beyond empty words and promises of days gone by, and as the theme for the NAIDOC 2022 says, get up, stand up and show up. So I think it was time for this council to do that. So in last year's Reconciliation Week, I publicly committed that Wonderful City Council would take steps to form a Reconciliation Action Plan, or RAP as it's known, and it was the beginning of positive action. A RAP's a strategic document that supports an organisation's vision, plan and culture. It includes practical actions that will drive an organisation's contribution to reconciliation, both internally and with the community in which it operates. It's a formal and important step to take, and we believe it will strengthen our community. So as a team of councillors, we've worked through this over the last months with staff. Staff have done a great job speaking to various groups, consultation, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous, and to understand what needs to be done. It is a big job, we understand that. But I think an endorsement for this important plan this evening will show us how to move forward with the development of this plan. As City Council here in Southwest Victoria, I think this council can be change makers in municipalities in our region. And we've been part of being more than words, respect for our First Nations people in the programs that we deliver through the council, the infrastructure that we build, and we can contribute to awareness, to knowledge and to reconciliation. This will take years of commitment, and we must acknowledge the reality of the past if we look to the future. And this step will align with the soon-to-be engagement of an Aboriginal liaison officer in coming weeks, who will be an integral part of this. So I think it's a really positive thing for council, staff and for the city. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Jelly. Well said. Councillor Arnold, you wish to speak to the motion?
Councillor Jelly has said it all really succinctly. It is an extremely important way for us to move forward as a council. It is a strategic document. actions speak louder than words. So once we have this plan up and going, and it will create a difference within the community, with our community, and recognising our Indigenous peoples in this area. I'm very proud to be part of this, and I think it's just a great way forward. I congratulate all the officers and everyone involved in the work thus far. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Are there any other councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Thanks, Councillor Lane.
The Reconciliation Action Plan, and I totally endorse what Councillor Jolly and Councillor Arnold said. It's a very important document in order to start to lead our actions. And I think that the Reconciliation Action Plan is really something that we all can reflect on. I know for me it's probably about creating, to me it's something I'd like, I think everyone's got different goals and ambitions for it in the end, and I think for me one of the biggest things would be creating acceptance, and creating a more diverse, not just council, but wider more community as well with our Indigenous brothers and sisters. I'm looking forward to the resources that, I'm looking forward to the resources that we'll have to go through in order to, where we're starting now, which is that reflect track, looking back on where we've been, the innovation map, which is where we're going to move to, the stretch track, which will be once we can really start to integrate, and then that elevate rack, which is moving reconciliation, I suppose, to a place where, and I think there's only 2 organisations in the country who actually made it to elevate rack stage, but that's really innovating and creating more acceptance and normality, more community for reconciliation across the country. So it's a really exciting thing for us to be a part of. It's more than just respect, it's the start. It's more than just respect to country in the start of meeting reconciliation. It's about our views, our actions, and our behaviours, and how we promote things like this. So I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Coach.
Thank you, Mayor. It's really very exciting to see one of the city council is taking this very important document. We all know moving on is very important in life, and we know also that the crime is not inherited, but we do have moral responsibility to give some aspect of this past. One of them is reconciliation, and we have to reconcile to make this country better and better than today. I'm happy to endorse this recommendation. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment that there are 5 dimensions to this reconciliation which have been identified. It's race relations, positive two-way relationships built on trust and respect, equality and equity, institutional integrity, and political business and community institutions actively support all dimensions of reconciliation, unity, and historical acceptance. There's widespread acceptance of our nation's history and agreement that the wrongs of the past will never be repeated. There is truth, justice, healing, and historical acceptance, all incredibly important. And I, for one, am very excited that we're starting on this path. It's a big job, but every big job must begin somewhere. And we've made the first steps. I think it's been others. No further speakers. Councillor Julie, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, whatever we've all said, we're on the same page, and you can really see that, and that's fabulous because this will support our community, it'll support the staff here. Having an Indigenous officer here will be fabulous. Yeah. We live in an amazing part of Australia. We've got the world's longest surviving culture all around us, whether it's Moyle or, so many things here. there's stories to be told and there's respect to be done, and I'm just so pleased that we can now stand up and say we're listening and we're acting. So it's positive, and I think it's time to reflect and take action.
Thank you, Councillor Julie. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried unanimously. Item 7.8 on the agenda, the Advisory Committee Reference Group reports. This report contains the record of one steering committee meeting and one reference group meeting. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Being no questions, I would ask councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
Thank you, Mayor Siegler. I'd like to move that the motion of accepting the minutes of the steering committee on the 11th of November and the airport reference group meeting held on the 6th of December be accepted as per council officer's recommendation. Thank you, Mayor Siegler.
Is there a second to this motion? Councillor Pascaliaris? Thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Ziegler. Yes, the proposed works to spray the second runway at the airport have been completed, and they are doing tests currently to see how the bitumen has sealed, and I've accepted an invitation to go to the airport in the near future to inspect the new runway. Thank you, Mayor Ziegler.
Councillor Pascaliaris, you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, sir. Just really in reference to the CCTV steering committee meeting, just a couple of points. That it's, well actually I think we confirmed 2 new police officer representatives from Nicole. It's interesting also to note that the future projects for CCTV will consider legal speech to reduce and address community behaviour and illegal rubbish dumping. The Victorian police officers also supported a couple of other locations more central, which were suggestions of Lava Street into bus stops, and also one near the Coles supermarket on Lava Street again. I think this is really to maybe complete that central CCTV project. The projects are not only beneficial in assisting the police with the monitoring and interrupting unlawful or questionable behaviour and improving safety, but historically most CCTV projects are completed through government funding with only small contributions from council, which is obviously very good for our community with council's bottom line.
Thank you, Councillor Pascaliaris. Do any other councillors wish to speak to this motion? There being no further speakers to the motion, I will now put the motion to the vote. So, Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak before closing the vote?
Thank you, Mayor Ziegler. Yes, I'd just like to endorse Councillor Pascaliaris' comments on the CCTV that are certainly improving the behaviour of the CBD. Thank you, Mayor Ziegler.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.9, informal meetings of council reports. The purpose of this report is to provide council with copies of informal meetings of council, previously known as Assembly of Council Records, as previously required under section 80A, section 2, part 2 of the Local Government Act 1989. Councillors, is there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Councillor Lane.
I've just got a few amendments if the group would agree to them, especially the one the 24th of January, the informal meeting. I think the record's not correct. Do you want the list of amendments?
Please go ahead.
Okay, the first one is in other matters considered. I believe there was one that wasn't put on there, which was mural performance. I also think it should be noted that all of the directors left that meeting at 5:19 p.m. The meeting actually closed at 6:14, and the record wasn't just completed by Peter Utri, it should have also been completed by Peter Utri and Peter Schneider, because he was the only one there after 5:19 who would have taken over the record keeping. There's sort of my amendments.
That's your amendment. Do we have a second for the amendment? Councillor Taylor. So, Councillor Lane, you need to move a motion to move your amendment.
So I'll move then that, how do you want to say the amendments? Sorry.
We'll move that amendments, so you can just say.
As per my amendments for the meeting of the 24th of January, and I'll accept the other records of the 13th of December, 14th of December, 17th of December, 25th of January, 27th of January, and Monday the 31st of January as from correct records. Is that right? With the amendments to the 24th of January informal meeting.
I'll call for a second or two the motion.
Second that.
You're happy to second that motion, Councillor Taylor? Thank you.
Oh, sorry, just in the amendments, I did state 604 actually being the end time of that meeting. Yes. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Do we have any notes reflecting that? Thank you, Councillor Wendy. Are there any questions that other councillors want to before we make the motion? No? So we have a motion moved by Councillor Lane, seconded by Councillor Taylor. You wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Lane?
No, thank you, Ms.
Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Ms.
Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? There being no further speakers, Councillor Lane, do you wish to speak before closing the debate?
Yeah, just to close, I just hope that in the future, that those who take the minutes of these meetings just a bit more astute on keeping track of because it's important for us and the public to know what we're actually discussing and where this is going. So I think it's important to make sure that they're from correct records. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. We'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 7.10, Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report. This report summarised the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council activities since the last ordinary meeting, which particularly relate to key social, economic and environmental issues of direct relevance to the Warrnambool community. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I second the motion? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Lane, what is your motion?
The Mayor and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report be received.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Is there a second to the motion? Councillor Pascaliaris? Thank you. Councillor Lane, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Pascaliaris? Thank you. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No. There being no further speakers, Councillor Lane, do you wish to speak before closing the debate?
No, thank you.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 8 on the agenda, notices of motion. Are there any notices of motion to be brought to the attention of Council? There being none.
None received.
Thank you. Item 9 on the agenda, general business. General business is for items that are of a minor or routine nature or retain the right to reject items in accordance with clause 29, part 2 of the governance rules. There are 1 councillors that will have a maximum of 2 minutes to speak, and officers will be provided with an opportunity to respond or address any issues raised. Councillors, are there any items of general business? There are none. Urgent business. Any items of, have you received any items?
None received.
Nothing there. There being no further items of business, I declare the meeting closed at 7:08 p.m.